Hey guys, welcome to Croc HQ. This is my family vlog channel. Today I will be showing you a tutorial for Mrs. Toad from Thumbelina, for all my 90s kids out there. I really love this character so much because I grew up with a lot of Hispanic aunts and she just reminded me so much of them. If you guys remember, Mrs. Toad was just like this crazy, dancing, lovable character from Thumbelina, and I just really wanted something of her in my house. One day I just woke up and decided that I wanted to make a sculpture of her. So this tutorial is going to go ahead and show you from start to finish, part 1 and part 2, the sculpt, the bake, the paint job, and the finishing touches for Mrs. Toad. She came out really, really well. And I will say I've been doing this sculpting for almost 2 years now. By no means do I consider myself to be a professional at this at all. I'm still learning every day, but she's probably the best sculpt that I've done thus far, and I'm really proud of her, and I really hope you guys enjoy this and take something away from my process, and hopefully some people are willing to share their processes as well, because as all artists, I think, have learned or will learn, you know, we all can draw from each other inspiration and all kinds of knowledge that really can enhance our day-to-day, what we're doing, and our own projects and our own creativity. So I will be talking throughout this video and part 2 to kind of describe what's happening for the novice and some of the more intricate stuff that maybe you can't really see that well on camera. You know, I'll go ahead and describe that for you guys. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe to our channel for more tutorials and fun videos for my family. Otherwise, please enjoy. Okay guys, so off camera I just took a small piece of aluminum foil and balled it up, and I covered that with just a thin layer of polymer clay. I ran it through my pasta machine to get a nice even layer, and now I am blocking out her eyes and her face, it took me forever to get this shape because she has a very unique face. For anybody that, you know, recognizes this character, or just hit Google up and go look up a picture of her, she has such strange dimensions. This took me forever, but yeah. Okay, so now I've attached her head and I'm just kind of making sure that it stays in place with my tools, and I've spent a lot of time off camera smoothing her with just alcohol on my finger or with a paintbrush. Just dip it in alcohol and it kind of has an effect on the clay to smooth out bumps or get any kind of debris out of there. See, look at her, she looks so pretty, oh my goodness. So that's really the biggest takeaway on this character, as opposed to all the other sculpts that I've done up until this point, was I just never realized that I was not spending enough time on the smoothing part. I will look at other sculptures on Instagram and on Facebook and stuff like that, and tutorials, and a lot of times they skip over a lot of the smoothing because who wants to sit there and watch 10 minutes of smoothing? But there is something to be said for taking your absolute time, really smoothing out each section of your sculpt and letting it dry in between to really make sure that you have a sturdy piece. And for a character like this, smoothing is so important, because when I get to her paint, if she's not smooth, then you'll be able to see all the imperfections, and because she's based off a cartoon, that's just something that we could not have. Okay guys, now I put her in the oven. She went in at 275 for 33 minutes. I believe that the Sculpey clay that I used says 275, 15 minutes for each fourth of an inch. Don't quote me if I'm wrong on that, please, but the 33 minutes worked great for her torso. And the reason that I baked her in parts is because it's just easier for me, and I know for a lot of other artists that I've followed and learned from, it's easier, especially on a character like this who has such thin legs and such a tall top. It's easier to do it in parts. So in total, Mrs. Toad, I baked her 3 different times over the 2 videos, and it worked really well for me in this case. I baked her after the legs and I baked her after I did her hair. And it just helps, because a lot of times I get so in the zone that I just don't even realize where my hands are, and if I move on to a different extremity or whatever it may be, you know, I'll smush up the other part, and it just really gets me almost every single time. So my advice is know thyself, honestly, and as many times as you have to bake, go ahead and do that, just to be on the safe side, and to make sure that you protect your sculptures if you do bake them more than once. The thin parts, you know, take a little piece of aluminum foil and just kind of cover the thin parts of it, or just the whole top if you want to, just to ensure that you're not burning your sculptures. And make sure to check on them often. Don't forget that they're in the oven, because they will burn and they'll turn black, and you'll cry. You'll cry. Okay, now here's my biggest problem as an artist, and Mrs. Toad is no exception to this rule for me, and I will gladly take any advice anybody has out on the interwebs to let me know how to do this correctly, but I was trying to plan out how to attach her, to how to mount her to her base, and I made her leg wire go longer and kind of protrude through the bottom of her shoe, thinking that I was going to screw a hole in the base and then glue her in, and it just did not work the way that I planned. And really, no sculpture that I've done thus far that had a base has worked out exactly right. I've just gotten better at kind of hiding the flaws and the mistakes that I've made. I guess it's just a learning game, and hopefully somebody out there sees this video and can kind of walk me through it, because for the life of me, I've scoured the internet for videos on how to mount these things to bases properly, and I've seen the armature stands. I just do not understand how those work, and that's why I haven't invested in buying one yet, but I'm sure I'm just working up to it. So this is why you'll see in this video I'm going to be adding a piece of wire to her shoe, specifically thinking that it was going to add, more stability to her when I was getting ready to mount. And it didn't really do anything for it, but luckily she turned out fine in the end. Alright, now here she is. The takeaway from this video, I think, is smooth, 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 and plan out your bases. Like and subscribe, and please check out part 2 for the paint job.